All right, everyone. Okay, so I am back. What I was saying initially before I got disconnected was, as you guys know, September 30th, AGOA expired. For those who don't know what AGOA is, it's the African Growth and Opportunity Act. This is a trade agreement between eligible African countries and the United States of America, where on some products, you pay zero duty for importers and exporters. Now, I've been exporting between Nigeria and the United States now for 5 years. And the majority of the products that I've exported have arrived and cleared duty free. So that's the bad news, guys. It's currently expired. The good news, as I understand, is that in principle, the United States Congress has agreed to extend AGOA for an additional 12 months. But as of right now, nothing is set in stone. As of right now, it's not official. If I were to import, I'm sitting in the United States. If I were to import goods currently from Nigeria into the United States, in the current state that AGOA is in, which is it has expired, it is no longer valid, I will have to pay duty on the declared value of the products that I bring in from Nigeria, in addition to the 15% tariff. That eats into a lot of the profit margin. Now I'm going to have two choices if this continues to hold. I'm either going to absorb that hit, meaning the duty, depending on the product, the percentage ranges anywhere from, let's say, 5 to 25%, depending on the product that you're bringing in. I'm going to have to absorb that. Or the second option is pass it on to the customer. Now, I looked online, I did some research, and although Nigeria is on the table, which I have to commend the country, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, I mean, these are eligible countries that actually benefit from the African Growth and Opportunity Act. But there really isn't a clear torchbearer that we could say is speaking on behalf of African nations, eligible African nations. And by the way, some of the more volatile African nations are not eligible for AGOA. Like war-torn countries, most countries with like a military dictatorship, unstable nations, African nations, they are not currently eligible for AGOA. But Nigeria is a major player and a major beneficiary of the act. And I would like to see more. It's been crickets for a week now. As far as like Nigerian representatives, speaking to US representatives, yes, AGOA is not a Nigeria US trade agreement. It is an Africa US trade agreement. And I would like to see Nigerian leadership be a little bit more vocal in the renewal of AGOA. It seems to me that there's a little bit of a distraction going on at the moment. Everyone is distracted. They are all trying to get this AFTRA off the ground, where African nations trade more amongst each other. That is fine. There's some validity in that. But it shouldn't be at the expense of losing the possibility of actually losing AGOA. Because what is the alternative? You have the AFTRA thing going on. That is totally fine. More African nations definitely should trade amongst each other. But as it stands, it's actually more difficult for African nations today to trade amongst each other than it is for them to trade with the Western world. It's more difficult to travel within Africa than it is to travel to Europe or to the United States. It's a fact. And you got to realize the Trade Act that they are talking about right now amongst African nations is still fairly new. AGOA has been around since 2000, 25 years. And yes, we can all agree, I think we can all agree that the Trump administration isn't necessarily that in tuned with trading with African nations. I think we can all agree to that. Compared to, let's say, the previous administration or the Obama administration that were more pro-Africa trade. The Trump administration couldn't care less if AGOA went away. And I am not against, the president of the United States and his administration. I'm not against it. But you don't necessarily hear them championing or fostering trade with the African continent. This should not, we should not have even gotten to this point. This should have been resolved and renewed long before it expired. It should have been. But what that tells me is, where is the urgency? Are they really going to sit there and watch this trade act go disappear? Nigeria should actually be at the forefront of these discussions and these engagements. Just for the mere fact that the United States is a great trading partner with Nigeria. So just a bit of a background on for those who may not understand AGOA, just a bit of background. So this trade act is strictly between African countries and eligible African countries. I have to say that eligible because not every country qualifies. You really have to be in good standing with the world to be able to qualify for that. The duty free on, I would probably say, most commodities. Virtually all agricultural commodities are duty free under AGOA. As of right now, they're not because it had expired. So if you have a shipment right now, if you're a United States importer and you're doing business with African manufacturers, African suppliers, you are going to be on the hook for both duty and tariffs. So what is the 1-year extension for? Yes, it buys us more time. Yes, it buys us a little bit more time. I mean, what is it that the United States, well, yes, you could say that the United States maybe they want more of a bilateral trade agreement with each country. Could Nigeria benefit? As of today, Nigeria does not have a bilateral trade agreement with the United States. There's some memorandum of understanding, but as far as like an official locked-in bilateral trade agreement between the United States of America and Nigeria, it does not exist. We are not in a position right now to kill AGOA. We are just not. especially now with the push for what non-oil exports, with Nigeria diversifying away from fossil fuels, diversifying away from oil and gas into non-oil exports, you would think that somebody would be literally championing and trying to get this deal done. We are distracted. We are trying to do more business with other African nations, whereas we've been doing business with the US for the past 25 years. Yes, do business with other African nations. I have no problem with that. I think it's needed. I think it's necessary. It seems from my research, based on what I've seen online, based on what I've seen in reputable news channels, it kind of appears that Kenya and South Africa are the only two countries taking more of the leadership role when when it comes to trying to get AGOA extended. Where is the giant of the giant? I shouldn't say where's the giant of Africa. The giant of Africa can do more. Nigeria can definitely do more. Are we leading the new Africa Trade Act right now? Yes, we are. But it's going to take time. Nigerian exporters and importers can't afford to eat these duties. We just can't. For 5 years now that I've been exporting out of Nigeria into the United States, I've paid zero duty. It's just until recently that I started, with the new Trump tariffs. Yes, you pay the 15% blanket tariff that everyone has to pay, baseline 15%. But what I'm saying is, we've come a long way. I would say that for the past 5 years, Nigeria has really been making this push into non-oil exports. We have been for the past 5 years. At least there's been more emphasis, even though oil and gas still drives majority of Nigeria's GDP as far as like exports goes. Oil and gas is still the leader. But as far as like non-oil export goes, and we still have a long way to go there. We still have a long way to go in terms of processing. We are still exporting raw materials instead of finished goods. Nigeria is still exporting mostly raw mineral resources instead of converting those mineral resources into finished goods that the world can use. And Nigerian diaspora importers like myself have seen the benefit of AGOA. So we can't. We are literally not in a position for AGOA to go away. We are not in a position to lose AGOA. We are just not. Yes, in principle, they've agreed. They're going to extend it another year in principle. But as of right now, there's been no signature. It's not officialized. It's just not. So that's the update. Bad news is still expired. Good news is, in principle, it's going to be extended, or they're working on extending it for at least 12 months, which gives us more time. And I want Nigeria to do more. I would love to see Nigeria do more in this space. All right, just wanted to share that, guys. Give you guys the latest update on AGOA. Catch you on the next one, guys. Take care.